Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your continued commitment to this issue. It is critical that we hold both big tobacco and big vaping accountable for targeting young people and for knowingly hooking generations of Black and brown Americans to nicotine. Our work to end the smoking epidemic is not just simply a matter of public health. This is and always has also been an issue of racial justice. Last week, my home state of Massachusetts became the first in the nation to place a permanent ban on flavored e-cigarette and menthol cigarette products. This is important because if we are banning flavors, we must ban all flavors, which includes mint and menthol. To not do so would be discriminatory since menthol in particular has imposed a unique and deadly burden on the Black community. We must clamp down on the production of menthol products and not the individual possession of it, because there are real intergenerational traumatic consequences of broken windows policing that has historically over-criminalized Black and brown communities. Something I called for in my People's Justice Guarantee Resolution. We must be simultaneously attuned to both public health and public safety to ensure that there are no more Eric Garners. For years, big tobacco companies disproportionately targeted more tobacco ads and specifically more menthol tobacco ads in Black neighborhoods. In some instances, as many as 10 times more ads for menthol products. The CDC reports that nearly 9 out of 10 Black smokers prefer menthol cigarettes. So I think it's safe to say, Mr. Zeller, that the targeting was effective, correct?
I would agree with that.
So today, nearly 45% of Black menthol smokers say they would quit smoking if menthol cigarettes were banned. And almost 2/3 of Black smokers under 24 years of age would do the same. A year ago, the FDA announced plans to ban menthol cigarettes, saying that a ban was necessary because menthol products, quote, unquote, disproportionately and adversely affect underserved communities. So a year has passed, and the FDA has not followed through on this ban. Why is that, Mr. Zeller?
As you said, Congresswoman, we went through an advance notice of proposed rulemaking on a variety of issues related to flavors, including the presence of menthol in cigarettes. And I would add to what you said that one of the public health concerns about mentholated cigarettes is not just the disproportionate use of menthol cigarettes by African Americans, but the role that menthol cigarettes plays in attracting kids of any color to experimenting with cigarettes. And we continue to review the comments and explore what the regulatory options and policies should be, but I absolutely hear you, and as Center Director share your concern from a public health perspective.
I'm sorry, so just to reclaim my time for a moment, just in the interest of time, just to be clear on the record, does the FDA plan to follow through with this ban? Yes or no?
I cannot give you a yes or no answer in an open public hearing. All I can tell you is that we're continuing to review all of the evidence related to flavors in all tobacco products as we try to follow the regulatory science and come up with the right policy.
So previous attempts to ban menthol have been overridden by the Office of Management and Budget. Why is that?
You need to be more specific. I don't know what you're referring to.
Do you want me to restate the question?
I don't understand what specific instance you're referring to.
Okay, I'll move on. I think the point that I'm really just reiterating, and I can't underscore enough because we're talking about a life and death matter, is that 47,000 Black people die every year from smoking-related illness, making this the largest cause of preventable death among Black Americans, even more than gun violence or car accidents. So we don't have more time. People are dying. So in my final second, I just want to go to a different line for a moment. So e-cigarettes are e-cigarettes recognized as an effective smoking cessation aid or not?
They are not approved by FDA as a cessation aid.
Okay, so e-cigarettes are not an effective cessation device. Menthol e-cigarettes are not an off-ramp for adult menthol smokers. They are an on-ramp to hooking a new generation of smokers.
Well, if we can go past the 20 seconds that you have left, there's a Public Health Balancing Act that the agency has to do with whatever policy emerges on flavors. And it's balancing, well, what are flavors helping adults successfully transition off of cigarettes completely to e-cigarettes? What role are flavors playing in that? And it's part of the balancing that we need to do. It's an easy call on the negative side of the ledger when it comes to the role that flavors are playing in attracting kids to experiment, especially kids who are walking around thinking that these are harmless products. But it's a balancing act because we have heard repeatedly from former smokers that it was the presence of certain flavors that helped them successfully transition completely away from cigarettes.
Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Congresswoman.